What is up, guys, and welcome back. Huge day for Bitcoin. We got the weekly close and the 3-day close. And to any new viewers, a big welcome for you guys. If you like what you see, consider joining us here in Team Bitcoin Easy by hitting the subscribe button. And hey guys, if you have not already, activate that notification bell as well, because I'm here with new videos every single day and there's a big announcement coming out for the channel. But now enough talking, let's go look at some charts. As per usual, we start out on the largest time frame and do a top-down analysis, looking at the weekly chart here, of course, first. And after some bearish developments last week, where we saw that we had a bearish engulfing here with this last candle here, now we're forming a really nice hammer here, a really nice dagger here that Bitcoin is trying to put in, trying to signalize that we found the bottom here for the local correction, that we're printing a higher low here in this current uptrend, and that we're then continuing upwards. Of course, for that, we need to confirm this pattern by following up with another bullish candle. So it remains to be seen what happens next week. And if we can actually close here in this bullish manner this week, there's still about 12.5 hours left on this candle right here at this time of the recording. So I'm going to keep my eyes on this, and I'm also going to update you on everything what's on the smaller time frames to, of course, catch this early. So make sure to stick around all the way until the end of the video to get the most out of it and to not miss out on those key levels on the smaller time frames. Right, guys, and here we have something really clear to see. We have, first of all, a massive trend, right? If we're connecting the tops from March here, where we put in the $74,000 top here, that brand new all-time high, then that was followed here by the area where we printed the 108K top, and then the 109K top, here giving us a really nice confirmed trend line with 3 touch points, and also turning this into a parallel channel here is the support line, the dynamic support line here, which is in perfect alignment with the 50-week SMA, which of course is always the key indicator that lets us know whether we're in a bull market or bear market. Since every time in the history of Bitcoin, we put in a new all-time high and then ended up closing below that moving average, we confirmed that we're going down to our bear market lows. And you can see that is all giving us a massive support, and we can expect that if that takes time here to get down to this logical support area here between 91 and 88K, coming from this entire range, then here traded weeks below that key area of interest. And there we also see the 38.2 if we retrace this entire trend here from the bottom to the current top. So really key area of confluence that would turn into support here. Then we could also expect the 50 SMA to be there somewhere in that area, giving us additional support. So that is the key level here. For the short to midterm, I'm a bit bearish here on Bitcoin, and I still think that we see lower price targets unless we break some very clear pivot points that I will get to in the smaller time frames. For now here, the most bullish scenario, the most likely scenario here is that we put in this big dagger, this hammer here at the bottom, and then it becomes interesting what we see next week. Of course, in the coming couple of weeks, we got a big announcement, or a couple of big announcements coming from the US with inflation numbers and also interest rate numbers. And as we know, that always has a big impact on the Bitcoin price and the crypto market in general. And that could take out the current uncertainty out of the market as well. Right, guys, and then the most bullish scenario here, if we can put in this dagger and then follow up with a bullish candle, of course, that would be nice to then close back above here, right around $109,000. That would then basically sign, seal, delivered here for Bitcoin. That we're continuing upwards towards new all-time high. And then that trend line here would come into play again. I think if we reach this trend line here once again, then it's very unlikely that we get a breakout there and go completely parabolic here. Of course, remains to be seen. Once spot action picks up and the retail really jumps on board here in this current bull market, then things could go really crazy. As for now, the big moves have been caused here by institutional money really coming into the market for the very first time in this cycle. And the retail is still sleeping a little bit, as we spoke about in previous videos. Then, of course, the prior high here comes into play for Bitcoin, right? We can see here on a closing basis, the prior top for Bitcoin was right around 104,360 bucks here. So if we start seeing weekly closes below here, then it starts looking more bearish here on the weekly chart. And then we can potentially see a continuation of this pullback here that could bring us down to the price targets in the 90 to 88K area over the next few weeks and months. And then we can expect a continuation of the bull market here and more upside for Bitcoin sometime in Q4 25 or even Q1 26. Now all this becomes much clearer on the smaller time frames. First one here is the 3-day chart, where we can see something potentially very bullish forming here on the chart. If we look at it on this candlestick here right now, if we start closing back above $106,000 almost on the dot here for Bitcoin today on this 3-day candle, then that's a strong here bullish engulfing. And then that would start looking extremely bullish, and then we could at least expect some upside here back to the area of $109,000 to $110,000, where then of course it becomes decisive if we see 3-day closes back above $109,700 more or less. Then we can expect Bitcoin to continue in this uptrend, to confirm this higher low here and continue in this trend here and start forming a new trend line. And then we come down into the smaller time frames here, and talking about the trend, we can see that we had this very, very steep uptrend here, which of course, the steeper the trend, the more unsustainable it comes, and therefore we broke this down here. Let me just draw it up quickly again. We can take the lowest body here and start connecting all the way up here. And then we can see that right up here with this candle, basically we confirmed that this trend is broken. And from then we started correcting here for the last couple of weeks in this downtrend you can see here. And then actually 2 days ago, we had a massive reaction here of a key area of interest, right? We can see here the dynamic support line, then we see the 50-day SMA, and then we also see here this key horizontal level, all giving us support, and therefore a really nice spot to get a bounce here. And now we actually broke out of this downtrend here. If we see this here, very clear trend line that has been confirmed with multiple touch points. But now what we really want to see, as I always tell you guys, we emphasize horizontals over diagonals. We want to see daily closes above $106,000 as well. Same thing that we saw on the 3-day chart. That's our exact pivot point here to confirm that we're going upwards to at least test the area here between $109,000 and $110,000, right? And now another thing that we could set up here, even if we get rejected here in this area, you can see here something that we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks, where I told you that we now confirmed a head and shoulder pattern here on the daily chart. Specifically, if we focus on the bodies, it becomes very clear. Let's just draw it up quickly. So we have a left shoulder here, and we formed a head, came down here, formed the right shoulder, and then confirmed it by breaking the neckline here and came down here. Now, of course, a lot of people are saying that this pattern has been invalidated, but it hasn't. If we break the right shoulder now on a closing basis, right, then we invalidate this pattern and then we turn bullish again. But for now, this is still the neckline here. Also for the trend, you can see here we've been forming lower highs. And by definition, we always want to break the previous high in a downtrend to start predicting higher highs. And therefore, we still need to break this horizontal level right at 106,000 here on a daily closing basis. And then we would have an official trend reversal here. But for now, this is still in play. And if we get rejection here, then the only hope we really have is that we come from a head and shoulder pattern to printing an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Actually, we can stay in the line chart. Let me just remove this one here now. And then we have something very similar, right? We come down here, we put in this low, and we put in a high, and we put in a lower low. And now if we get a rejection here at this neckline, and if we get another bounce in the 104K area, then we form the right shoulder here from this inverted head and shoulder pattern, and the measurement of the pattern would take us back up here then to the previous highs. So very decisive area here at 106K and at 104K. If we now find a rejection at $106,000 and fall back below $104,000 on a daily closing basis, we can expect a longer consolidation down to price targets somewhere in the $90,000 to $88,000 range. Now let's go wrap it up here on the 4-hourly chart. And here we can see this clear breakout out of the downtrend as well that we saw on the daily chart, and also something very bullish. If we look at that key moving average that we've been observing here for months now on the 4-hourly chart, the 50 EMA, then we can see that we had a lot of rejections here since we lost it at this candle, right? You saw that it has been massive support here throughout this big pump after we got the golden cross here, and then here support throughout until we lost it. Then of course it turned into strong resistance as per usual, and now we got back above it and confirmed that with another bullish candle, and now even got a retest that now is trying to form a hammer here with only 20 minutes left in the 4-hourly candle. And here then, for early identification of this break of the bearish structure, we see that the last high here in this downtrend has been right at $106,700. So if we start seeing 4-hourly closes above there, and then it drifts over into the daily chart and we get a daily close above $106,000, and we can expect the trend to continue upwards to test the area of $109,000 to $110,000. Right then, and then to the downside, and we see here's a massive cluster of support, right? We can see this Fibonacci retracement. Of course, that's the retracement of the entire downtrend here from the high to the low. There we have the key level, the 38.2 that we just reclaimed now, in perfect alignment almost with the 50 EMA, of course. And then also the previous resistance, the dynamic line here right below there, and another key support line that held the price up here for Bitcoin for a couple of weeks as well. So this range right between $105,200 down to $104,000 almost exactly here is the key area. And there we know if we lose that, and then it confirms on the daily chart that we also break below there on a daily closing basis, then we basically have it confirmed here that this trend continues to the downside, and that we're going towards, first of all, the area between 98 and 97K, and eventually most likely down to the area between $91,000 to $88,000. Alright guys, and that's a wrap for today's but also this week's Bitcoin analysis here. Let me know what your thoughts are by dropping them down in the comments. Let's get talking. Let's get the conversation started. And hey, if you have not already, then make sure you're subscribed and also hit that notification bell to catch all my updates. And guys, while you're down there, help me out with the algorithm a little bit and also smash up that like button. It only takes you a second. And if you want to stay up to date with my entire analysis, the easiest way to do so is to follow me over on X as well. I'm Pat Does Crypto over there. And if anything major breaks or if I got any announcements, that's where you hear it first. And now guys, hope you have an awesome Sunday and a nice end to your weekend. And as always, happy trading and see you soon.